So hey, this is Alex. Today we're going to poach an egg. Now notice I filled up my pot with water and I need it to be deep enough so that the egg has time to set before it touches the bottom of the pan. Now to this water I'm going to add about an ounce of white vinegar, and now the vinegar helps set the egg protein. So when you crack it and add it to the water, the egg's going to set up a lot quicker than it would if the water did not contain any acid in it. Now I'm going to turn the heat on to high and just bring my water to a boil. So to do this a bit quicker, I'm going to put the lid on my pot and just give it a few minutes. Okay, now to avoid getting any of the shell in our poached eggs, what we do first is we take an egg and we crack it into a glass dish. And from there we take the glass dish and pour it into the water. So I'm just going to crack my egg. I'm going to reduce the heat just to bring my water down to a simmer at this point. This boil is a little too hard right now to add any sort of egg to. If I put the egg in right now, it would just completely disperse the egg white and create a mess in there. So I'm just lowering the temperature a little bit. I want to bring it down just a few degrees below 100 degrees or boiling point, so that I get a nice break on the surface, but not too much turmoil in the pot. So when I've got to this point here, notice the surface is just lightly breaking. Alright, so I've got my water to a boil here. Now at this point I'm just going to make sure to add my white vinegar. I just want to make sure to have the top of my water having a slight break in it. Now I don't want my water boiling too hard because that's going to tear up my egg when I add it. It's also important to make sure that I haven't added any salt to the water. If you want a little salt for seasoning, that's alright, but if you add more salt, what you're going to end up with is a poached egg with a lot of pock marks in it. So the salt really puts holes in it during cooking, and you want to try and avoid putting any salt in your poaching water. So now I'm going to take my egg in one hand and I'm going to stir my water in a circular motion with the other. I'm just trying to create a small whirlpool in the center of the pot. So when my water's swirling, I'm going to take my egg right over the top of the center and pour it in. Just in one drop, like that. And so what this circular motion does is it keeps the egg centered in the pot and helps the egg white wrap around the yolk as it sets. So at this point my water is reduced to a poaching temperature, just short of 100 degrees or boiling point. And I'm letting it set up here. Now poaching eggs doesn't take very long at all, so in the meantime I want to have a cold water bath ready, or just in this case a bowl of cold water waiting by my side. And when I'm sure that the egg is cooked, which takes about 45 seconds to a minute, and at this point it should be finished cooking. So I'm going to turn off the heat, take my egg in the spoon, quickly place it in the cold water bath. And so the cold water prevents it from cooking anymore, because a poached egg, you want the yolk to be runny. And you don't want the yolk to coagulate at all. So it doesn't take very long to cool down. Now what you want to do at this point, take it out. Pat it dry on absorbent paper or a dish towel. With a poached egg. You want to maintain the cylindrical shape of the egg before it's cracked, and if we cut it open cross center, you notice that the yolk hasn't set at all, so it's still very runny. When you cut it open, it bursts onto the plate. So that's your poached egg.